Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcoming everybody in to our April predictions. Hello, hello. I always find it helpful if someone can tell me if they can hear me. There's a chat button, so if you could use that and let me know if you can hear me, that would be great. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, I'm heard. All right, I love it. We're going to wait a few minutes for everyone to get here and find their way. Welcome for joining. We always like to invite folks to tell us where they're coming in from. So perhaps like what part of the world you live in, what state. We have people from all over joining us for the predictions. Feel free to let us know in the chat where you're hopping in from. And if this is your first predictions, or you're a predictions veteran, some of you are, I know these names. I know my prediction veteran names. But would love to say hello to everyone. Let me know where you're coming in from. Good to see you both, Mary and Tobin. From Georgia, we have Sarah from Virginia. Hi, Blanca. Giving you big hugs and love. Denise, you're new. Welcome. All right, Chaya from Nashville. And we have South Bend Neighborhood PSL for Denise. Okay, great. Welcome, welcome. We're just going to give everybody a couple minutes to find their way, and then we're going to get started. I usually start with some announcements, and then we dive right in. The predictions are such a nourishing experience, and there's lots of engagement. So I'm excited to share that with you today. I hope everyone's been doing well. How did you survive or thrive in the month of March? That's a good question. Feel free to share with us. Gonna wait a couple more minutes. Welcoming everybody in. Hi, Alyssa. Glad to have you. Good to see you again, Annie from Portland, Oregon. Susanna, Port St. Lucie. Wonderful. Let us know if you're new here, if you're hopping in for the first time to our predictions, letting us know where you're from. These are really nourishing, very active information and engaging sessions to hear about what is coming. And I'm sure if anyone here is an astrologer, we have a lot of big energy coming up this month. So I'll be talking about that and how the Akasha is speaking to that, and what we can do to make the most of it, which is going to be really great. So, okay, I'm going to get started. For those of you who are new, my name's Candace Rasa. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm an Akashic channel and a researcher. So my focus in the world right now is about sharing the Akasha with as many people as possible. That's part of why I do these live free predictions, to invite people into the energy in a really non-threatening way, to kind of expose this work in a way that helps people feel comfortable with it. And to help you connect with the divine source within yourself. All roads lead to Rome, as much as some people like to think they don't. Some roads are winding, some roads are bumpy, no roads are wrong. I feel that my work in the Akasha has helped people find peace within themselves. It's helped them connect with God and source, however they define it. And I am certainly here to serve. So I'm really grateful to be here with you tonight. And I have a few updates. So just a couple things. If you're local to the South Florida area, I will be doing another live event at Spirit Well Sensory Lounge. It's in Stuart, Florida. They've welcomed me back. We had a really lovely turnout last weekend in March where we did some open gallery channeling. So if you are new to my work, individual sessions are really intense. And for those of you who've had them, you know the work feels really deep. This space, we aren't going to be doing deep personal karmic work because we're in this collective and it's recorded and shared. But gallery channeling is like somewhere in between. Gallery channeling is like where you channel the Akasha and people bring forward very specific questions. So it's almost like this group deep healing. I'm going to be doing that again at Spiritwell in Stewart on April 24th, just to let everybody know. This time we're going to be bring your questions for a fishbowl, particularly around family, parenting, ancestral trauma, and navigating family relationships. So we're going to focus that one on that. So you're welcome to join us. It's very affordable. It's a community space. And I'm really grateful to be engaging the community. Why am I doing that? Because all of my work is online. I have people all over the world. I do have a physical office in Palm City, but I can feel the pressure and the pulse of the world now, and I want to be of more service in the community. So yes, grateful to have you. If you're local, you can go to Spiritwell to register. I'll be putting an event up in the Mighty Network so you can see more about it, but also on IG at Rasa Healing for Instagram. Welcome, Maggie. I miss you. I love you dearly. Maggie in Costa Rica. Grateful to have you here tonight. Another big announcement / update is that we are doing the dang thing again. Akashic Training Module 1 opens May 7th. So when I say open, I mean like we roll on May 7th. We have opened the registration to our wait list, which is a group of people who said they want to be in to have the first kind of pick of the registration. And we sent that out last week, and we have 16 spots already taken for Akashic training. So we are going to extend our registration close to 30 for this round, just so that everybody who wants to join us for the training can join us. If you are like, oh my gosh, I want to be in Akashic training and I didn't even know there was a wait list, don't worry, we still have spots. On Friday, this Friday, we are going to, Good Friday, we're going to be sharing registration for the general public. So it will be public, it will be on the Mighty Network, it will be on Instagram, it will be on all the spaces, right? So it'll be through email that you can register for module 1. We are only doing module 1 once in 2026 because I have other modules and we have them already sort of sorted out. So if you want to learn to read your own Akashic record and connect with this source energy, my work is about expanding this modality in the world and helping people to understand their divine truth, inherent wisdom within their own heart in which God exists, right? So we are training that live. It's a 6-week training, and that will be coming up again May 7th, but this Friday, we're going to be releasing it to the public. We already have 16 spots taken. I'm going to open it up till about 30 as our max. I usually do about 22, but we're going to take a little more this time so that everybody gets a chance to be there that wants to be there. So if that's you, check your email or make sure you sign up for my newsletter, which you can find on my website. Okay, cool. We are going to be presenting our Akashic research this summer. And for those of you who haven't heard, I've been part of a 3-year study kind of spearheading the impact of Akashic records and mental health outcomes. We cannot share openly all the details about our study until we publish, but we have the quantitative and qualitative data, and it's awesome, which is so exciting. So we will be sharing what we can, which is more generalizations and summaries from the work, but we see major drops in mental health symptomology after Akashic sessions, which is totally unexpected. We see obviously what we sort of expected, an increase in resilience and an increase in connection. And we wanted to do this research to also share the work in the world with more people, particularly mental health providers. It's extremely taboo. I can't tell you guys how often I get a DM in Instagram from someone's like, how are you pulling this off? How are you a licensed therapist and also channeling the Akashic record? How are you not in therapy jail, right? So there's sort of this like misconception that the mystical world, the spiritual world, doesn't belong in mental health wellness. And I'm here to change that. And that's also never been the case in our indigenous tribal heartbeat of who we are, right, as humans. Somewhere along the line, we have medicalized mental well-being, and we have removed what I think is the most important essence to our to our humanity, which is our sense of connection, our sense of relationship with the divine. And when we feel connection and divinity, we can move through difficult life experiences. The fact that that's been separate from mental health is beyond me. And so we are championing this research to change the game and the conversation on that. We've been invited to 2 academic spaces, one international and one locally here in Florida, state conference, to share about our research. And I hope to see you there if you're going to be at the social work conference, or if you're going to be at the Association for Energy Psychology conference in Reston, Virginia, which is occurring in May. All right, those are my announcements. Check, check, check. Hopefully I've covered all the things. If you're in sacred spaces, we have a lovely event this Sunday evening, a deep guided Akashic hypnosis, a live event where you get to settle into this resurrection energy, which is going to be beautiful. So if you're in that group, make sure you check out the event and RSVP for that. All right, yes, Sarah, I will see you in Reston. Sarah's joining me in Reston. She's going to watch the talk that I give on the clinical elements of the Akashic record. All right, so here I am. I'm grateful to be here with you. What's going to happen tonight is we are going to open the Akashic record. If you're new to the Akash, it is a 12-dimensional spiritual library listed in every spiritual text. There is referencing the memory of God, the tree of life, the book of life, God's remembering. It is a source frequency of quantum information that everything has energy and everything has memory, and that memory can be read. And yes, everyone can learn to read it, right? So I read it. Other people here that are on this group today can read the Akash. And what we do today is we don't open the record of individuals who are on our call. We open the Akash of the space, right? We open the Akash of the month ahead. Now, while we call this predictions, it's sort of like an opportunity for us to read the energy. Let's read the energy coming ashore so that we can grab our appropriate gear and equipment so that we can surf, or we can build, or we can snuggle up to whatever is coming our way. So these predictions are very practical. They weave in some astrology, and we also do a 4-card reading, which just helps to bring more kind of concreteness and specific energy to this work. So we're going to start with an open channeling after I open the record. And then from there, we're going to take some questions and do our 4-card reading. I'll let you know when it's question time. If you put it in too early, then the feed goes up and I miss it. So we'll let you know when it's time for questions, and we'll keep them coming from there. So how's everybody doing? Are we excited? How have we navigated March? Everybody feeling okay in that? Yeah? All right, so we're gonna open the record now, and wherever you are, certainly if you're driving, don't do this, but let's take a moment to connect with our own heart center, yeah? Putting your hand on your heart. You know, I've recently been more public about my work in the Akasha. I've shared it openly in the community in Stewart, and I've been part of a very public podcast that is deconstructing Christianity. It's called Spirit Outspoken. I've shared some of that on Instagram. And you know, the feedback I get is mostly really beautiful. And sometimes it's not. And this is a beautiful time this month, coming forward in April, to really dig our heels into our identity and who we are. So I'm really grateful to be walking that walk in my life, to be sharing that energy with you and calling you to the authentic places in yourself. So let us all take a deep breath with that. And when you breathe, I invite you to breathe through all or any fear or resistance that is present for you or in your field right now. I'm reminding you that in this present moment, you own all your sovereign power. And with your breath, you can soften and you can release any fear or resistance that is in the way of your peace. And as we all breathe into that right now, and as I read the prayer, I'd like each of you to set an intention for what you want to receive this evening. Here we go. I am that I am, and therefore I am love, and so are you. We are the point of light in the multiverse. We are children of God. We own all our power and remembering that we are one. I now direct divine love to the highest frequency for the highest healing and enter the Akashic field. I open the record of this time space. All those consenting, granted permission from the masters, teachers, and loved ones to transform, uncover, transmute, and recover all that is in perfect love. Aho. The records are now open. We are the keepers of the Akashic field along with this channel. There's an acknowledgement that April comes with a very powerful I am energetic. It is a breakthrough. It is a healing. It is an accelerated movement frequency. They show me in my head, I see this image of a car and it's on the start line, like at the NASCAR, and it's like a vroom, vroom. And there's this like giant spoiler, which I'm sure my kids would love. And the checkered flag goes, and then we take off. And we're not racing anywhere specific. We go round and round, just like we go round and round in our lifetimes. But there are moments in a race where you make turns, where you get help and you refuel your tank and get new tires. And there are seasons where you drift and you wait behind other people. And then there are seasons where you go from stop to start. April is a month we go fully into start. April has got 5 planets in the sign of Aries mid-month. I hear 6 if you count the new moon. We acknowledge that this month is about recognizing the reckoning of I am versus you are. My view versus your view. Decisive alignment. Truth that wants structure and action. I hear the truth of a race car is that it was born to race. The truth of a race car is that it was here to move. I hear, and there go you, here to move. Big inner truths coming to the surface, some reality testing around desire and direction. There is a sharp pivot around our wounds. They show me love this analogy, gotta love the analogies in the Akasha. They show me like this tight turn of a NASCAR and you're like, ee, and right, and the back part of the car is kind of, are we gonna lose it? Are we gonna flip over? Are we gonna crash? Are we gonna go into the wall? They said, hello, Chiron. Chiron is the asteroid associated with the wounded self. Mid-April, the sun and the new moon in Aries will sit and hug, hang out, and have tea with Chiron. That is the sliding car moment of, will I crash or will I just have done the best move of my life? They said, the jury's out, but we believe that the souls who are here today are here to find their true self through the daring confrontation with their wounds. There is decisive alignment here. They show me the opportunity for connection to identity purification. They show me like stripping away. I see like a shower or like a purification, like a car wash, all the different flaps, and then the soap, and then there's a stripping down through a purification process of the falsehood of self, right? Like who we think we are. I hear this is going to be directly in confrontation to what other people tell you you are, or what society tells you you are, or your old pattern or your old self tells you you are. There's too many planets in the sign of Aries, the god of war, the baby of the zodiac, who says, feed me, I'm hungry, for this month not to be about you. It's going to be about you. It's here to be about you. And I hear them say, and heads up, it's going to be about other people and what they think they need as well. So then it's like, uh-oh, how are we going to negotiate that, right? Well, they said clarity comes from action, not from passivity. We're going to have to go. And as we go, decisions will be made, declarations will be made, serious courage may be needed, and some reality-based testing or reality movement. I hear, explain what reality testing is. Reality testing is we think something is true. We think something is right. And then we step into it, right? Because we vroom, vroom, and we go around the corner and we're like, whoa, I don't have the right gear for this. Or, whoa, I don't want to be the driver. I'd rather be the refueling person. Or I need more support. So we get information. They show me information, intuition coming in from the divine into your system. Information assists us in knowing who we are, right? And being able to negotiate what we need. So there's a healing and an action here that's also really valid. They show me like the wounded path is the forward future you. It's like the wound is also linked to like your momentum. So we want to be able to say, what am I gaining? What am I learning? By the way, April 16th, April 17th is when the sun and the new moon have tea. I'll call that have tea with Chiron. What that essentially means is the moon and the sun are like passing through Chiron, right? They're sitting on top of Chiron. This means the sun, your ego, the moon, your emotion, sort of noticing the wound. I hear, let alchemy happen. Let identity like evolve. Let us see what we came here to see. A long chapter is ending. A new chapter is beginning. And it will be mirrored to you, thank you, in your core fear wound. It will be mirrored to you in your relationships, and it will come through the door of impulsivity at its worst, at its best, true, authentic responding. At its worst, it will come through impulsivity. At its best, it will come through true, authentic responding. I hear, if anyone here is an astrology buff, you don't need to be, but if you are, check the part of your chart where Aries is. Wherever Aries is, we're going to have 5 planets, 6 if you count the new moon middle of the month, in Aries. So you're going to have that part of your chart activated. What house is it in? The house is the life area that is going, hey, pay attention to me, okay? Here's what you want to watch out for in April. Watch out for conflict projection, right? So you feeling uncomfortable, your wound being activated, somebody else's wound being activated, and having us like throw pie at each other, right? Like that's something we want to watch out for. I hear that's going to happen. Prepare to duck. This, thank you. We acknowledge that these predictions are never offered in density, in fear, and in scarcity. They are offered on high frequency proactivity and empowerment. So if we are to know that it's going to be hot in the kitchen in April, I hear, open a window, wear your your neck ice pack, do some deeper breath work, and be choosy about which battles you fight. I hear you also want to watch out for emotionally loaded certainty. Anything that's coming up impulsively, that is a shadow or kind of a downside that can show up this month. What's great about it is like vroom, vroom, we're off, right? And also like, do we know where we're going? Do we have the right car? Like sometimes we don't have it all sorted when the checkered flag falls. So, we're going anyway. And if it's emotionally loaded, if you're noticing a lot of fire or electricity in your system as you're stepping in to this month, you are going to want to pull back and give yourself a bit more nourishment and self-care. I hear decisions made from impulsive emotion are never complete. Decisions made from impulsive emotion are never complete, meaning it's only a fragment or a small part of the pie. It's not the whole you. It's not your higher self. It's not your future self. It's not your child self. I mean, maybe it's definitely like a wounded self, right? And that will come up, right? That will come up because middle of the month, we have sun and new moon having tea with Chiron. They said instead of this fire energy, Instead, look for the deeper sorting. Look at what's being shifted around. Truth is going to be revealed. Friction reveals what truly matters. Friction reveals what truly matters. I hear be present for not what you see on the surface, but what you see resorting in the soil, what you see moving in the plates beneath your feet, what is unearthed through your own fear or your own wound. I hear this is the month for self-actualization, self-sovereignty, your participation in your authentic voice, and no longer being a slave or being obedient to the system, to a boss, to a relationship, to a paradigm, to a belief that would have you believe that you are separate and that you are unworthy. I hear for this, we all came to remember the God source energy within our own heart centers. For this, we came to feel the love that is available when we are in our power source. I always hear the Akash say, who's got something to gain by you being obedient? Who's got something to gain by you being afraid? Who's got something to gain by putting you in a corner, right? That isn't your truth. Their truth is that we are powerful beyond belief. We have God source energy within our own heart. We can access that wisdom. We don't have to earn it. We don't have to fight for it. We don't have to learn it. For this we came, that I am, that this is our truth. And this month, there's a lot of help astrologically for you to think about, well, who the heck am I? And for anybody, again, who knows astrology, I'm going to loop that back in. Where is Aries in your chart? It's going to be lighting up with 6 planets. Am I getting more? Yes, they would like to talk about some things you can do and some quotes or journal practices. So I'm hearing, let us work with managing heat in the kitchen and some strategies for this month. They show me the Tong Lin breathing practice. I was just talking about it today, and it's coming in again. So Tong Lin is a Buddhist meditation practice. It's spelled Tonglen, Tong Lin. Tong Lin is like, I think, humans' worst nightmare, right? This Buddhist ancient meditation breath practice is where you breathe in to your heart, right? You breathe in, collecting any amount of suffering or discomfort that you've experienced or that's in your energy field or in your life. We breathe it into the heart and we drop it into like a stage or a platform of compassion. And as you breathe that in, you make the heart wider and wider. You make the compassion wider and wider to fit whatever is feeling tight. And then on the exhale, you exhale to like a beautiful green, grassy, open playing field where like life is peaceful and blissful. Humans prefer the opposite, right? Let's breathe in the light and love. Let's breathe out the negative and the shadow, woosah, it's all gone. And the Akash is saying, but what if there's friction? But what if there's projection? What if there's emotional intensity? Then what, right? We can't just love and light our way there. That's called escapism. They said, we've got to hold space in our heart center for this energy. And how does one do that? I hear them say, all roads lead to Rome. There's many paths, but they're forwarding us the Tong Lin. You can look up Pema Chodron or Tara Brock, and they have lovely free guided Tonglen meditations online, so you can be guided, but it is a practice of learning distress tolerance, folks. I hear the Akasha say, who's here to learn distress tolerance? They're showing me like this Oprah energy, right? Like you get distress tolerance and you get distress tolerance, right? All of us are pretty activated right now. We are seeking, we are desperate. Some of us are feeling quite sad in the world, quite activated in the world. It cannot be unmentioned that it's hot in the kitchen collectively, right? Politically, we're walking more into that. And so they're acknowledging that a way for you to regulate your nervous system is to practice widening the compassion in your heart and to breathe and hold steadiness non-reactively to the suffering not that you're inviting into your system, but that's been there already, that's been hiding in cracks beyond your subconscious, that will blow up anyway at some point. We might as well collect it from all those places and put it into our heart center and hold some peace. Yeah. I also hear we want to work with relaxation responses this month. It's a very important strategy to navigate our own fire. I hear if Aries inspires you to take action, to go forward, to vroom, vroom, some big realization in your life, I hear like that's the best and highest use of this energy. It's if it's being used for your ego, or it's used to make other people feel less than you, or it's used in a very impulsive, emotional way, like that's not the best use of the energy, right? So we'll all fall somewhere in that continuum, and some of us better than others. But I hear like this is an important energy. They said that the Libra full moon is today, right? So we have a really strong energy of the full moon. Libra is the energy of balance. We are balancing this relationships. I hear in the Akash, relationships are going to be a big theme in April. Relationship with yourself versus relationship with other people. And they thank you. They also want me to say to you that the big one, we talk sometimes about astrology events that are really big, and they show me mid-month, you're going to want to really pay attention to what like wounded self or what's coming up for you. Again, the 16th or the 17th, and we have, of course, the full moon here in the beginning of the month, and then planets like Mercury and Mars start to join Aries, and then we end up with 6 things in Aries towards the middle and end of the month. But what's really important to mention is that Uranus is in Gemini April 25th. They said, if you don't know anything about astrology, you can just take a deep breath here, or you can look it up. Uranus spends about 7 years in a particular sign and space, and it's entering a new sign, right? It's just going from Taurus to Gemini. So what we're looking at here, just to give you guys a sense, is we're looking at like major shifts around communication, around pattern, around networks, around how we think and how we talk. And this is mostly going to show up politically. This is mostly going to show up in your community spaces. We're going to be seeing like a lot of change around how people are communicating. And I hear the Akash saying AI, right? So we're looking at some transformative things. You're likely to experience some surprises, right? When Uranus changes and does anything wonky, we have surprises. Uranus is fierce authenticity. It fits really well with Aries, right? So we're looking at like maybe a surprising bit of information at the end of the month. We may definitely see that collectively, like something shows up. But when this happens, it's typically to push us towards a greater authentic version of ourselves. Uranus has been doing lots of funky things in the last few months, and the end of this month, it will get the push we need to be more in alignment. But there is a new cycle. There's a new way of being around communication, thinking, networking, systems, tech, AI. Have I gotten that accurately? I'm hearing yes. I'm going to take a breath with that. I hear let's go to the cards, and then we'll lean into your questions, and then we'll go from there. How's everybody feeling with this? Are they doing okay? We're going to pull some cards. So why do I do this? Because God speaks through all things, and Oracle is a great way to ground what we've talked about today. And so I use the Archangel Oracle cards today. It's been a while since I've used angel cards, but I feel like it's appropriate because I think we can all benefit from a really loving take on this month. So that's why I chose that deck. Okay, so the first card in our lineup, and I pulled these right before this time, is Archangel Chamuel, Beloved One. And so this card says, I'm helping you with your spiritual soulmate relationship. Immediately I hear, who is your beloved one? What is the spiritual relationship? Is it a relationship with Source? Is it a relationship with your partner? Is it a relationship with yourself? There's some kind of transformation with a relationship. This card in the first position always means situation. This is the situation for April. There's some kind of dynamic relational shift. I really think that Chiron stuff in the middle of the month where the wound gets kicked up and we get to learn something, we are going to be sharing that with a partner. We're going to be teaching that with a partner. And for those who don't know the story of Chiron, the Greek tragedy story, it's so poetic, because Chiron, while could never heal himself, heals everybody else around him, right? He eventually asks for death as a form of mortality in order to be free of his own suffering, because he was this kind of demigod. And then as he passed, he ascended as an asteroid in our solar system. And so wherever Chiron is in your chart, that's where your wound is. But the idea with Chiron is it's a constantly evolving teacher. Okay. So Chiron becomes the pain, or the wound becomes the teaching point. It's the Rumi quote of, right, the crack is where the light enters you. Okay, so we all are here with special gifts that are part of our God-given divinity, and they often come from the cracks, and they come from the chironic wounds. So this month is a theme around that, and then there's going to be some kind of relationship theme with yourself, with your higher source, with your people. So this is the situation. We're going to be looking at Chiron as a guidepost. What is coming up for us? Okay, so the second card in the position of our 4-card reading is the block. And this one we have, here we come, teaching and learning, right? So that's very appropriate given our chironic stuff. So this is the block, and this is Archangel Zadkiel. And the message here is keep an open mind, learn new ideas, then teach those ideas to others. This is the embodiment of Chiron. I just put that together myself, right? It's really interesting that we get this card and we have the Chiron energy, that this is what we're talking about. The learning and teaching are part of the same wheel that turns. You can't be a good student without also being a good teacher. And you can't be a good teacher unless you were a good student, right? So we're in this process. And if this is in the block position, are we keeping an open mind? Are we recognizing that this journey and this crazy thing that we call life is here to teach us? Are we preventing that in some way? So this is like kind of what we want to look at as the block, is like, let's stay open, and also remembering that we're here to grow and that we're here to forge better and more healed relationships with people. And what comes here for this card is like, fuse your mind with the divine mind of God. I say to people all the time in Akashic sessions, this part of our mind is observing for confirmation bias, right? I'm looking for things I know so that I can label them with things I already know, right? There's a very deep reptilian part of your brain that says, I've got all the trauma back here, and I'm going to scream my siren horn when anything looks crazy, and nobody else is going to be able to function, right? This shuts down, everything shuts down, right? And then I say to folks, when we open the Akash and we connect with these other versions of ourselves and we connect with God, then we have access to higher mind, right? To the divine mind of God, to the non-local mind. And Dr. Dan Siegel says when people access this plane of possibility in their divine mind, they have higher plasticity, higher lasting changes, which means we can change our relationship with our suffering and our trauma and our experience and the way we see the world right now when we engage higher mind. Higher mind comes from some kind of learning and teaching. That may mean very direct. It can mean you're taking a course. Maybe you're taking Akashic training with me. I don't know. I swear I didn't pull this in any way for that reason, but it's kind of ironic. But I really get the sense that this is about the Chiron cycle, right? The becoming the teacher from the wound, and how we are merging our mind with conscious mind. Anytime I'm in active suffering, I always say, to my higher self, when I pray to God, I always say, like, what is in this for me that I am learning? What am I meant to make from this? What kind of medicine am I meant to make from this, right? This is where we're kind of calling in higher mind. If you're only operating from confirmation bias here, no new things are coming in. So that could be your block. So we'll want to watch for that. The third position is the solution to the block. This is one of my favorite cards in this deck. It's so great. It's Archangel Jeremiel. All is well. Look at the dancing, right? It's like a total dance move. This angel's like, I'm so free. I've got nothing else but to just, be in my free state. all is well. The message is everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to with hidden blessings. You will soon understand. So even though we may be rejecting some sort of learning, we may not be using our higher mind, don't worry, all is well, right? This is about surrender. This is about faith. This is about trusting the process, trusting higher source, and this too. Something I like to say whenever I'm suffering, I say, and this too. Oh, and this too. I'm choosing to not reject or resist anything in my life that is coming to me. I experience more suffering when I'm resisting what I'm experiencing. When I say, and this too, I'm saying, I got it. This is meant to be part of my experience. I also say that when things are really great. I say, and this too, right? And you know what else applies? This too shall pass. People use that when things are in suffering state. When things are in joy state, we could also say, that, you know, and this also should pass, right? Because that's how life works. It's never consistent. But we know we can settle in to this place that answered prayers are in disguise, that all is truly well. This is our solution. So we need to kind of find some faith this month. The outcome, I love this card. This is such a great kind of Aries focused energy, is leadership, right? The leadership card. So this is by Archangel Gabriel, and the message is, it is time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others, right? It is time for you to assume your leadership power and position and lovingly guide others. You are not separate from source wisdom. Embrace your power in loving ways. How may I serve? That's a really great question to step into your leadership. And this is the outcome of the month. So we're looking at like finding more power. We're looking at finding our truth at the end of this month. We release what others think by being a living example of divine guidance. What and who determines if you are living in alignment with your divine guidance? You, right? You. No one has the power to tell you if you are living in divine guidance or not. This is about your own personal leadership. This is the Aries frequency. I'm going to go through the cards again, Gina. We have the beloved one, Archangel Shermiel. This month is about working with relationship, healing relationships, and healing connections through relationship. And that may mean with yourself. I really strongly feel that's the case. We have this block around teaching and learning with Archangel Zadkiel. I think that's really leaning into our chironic wound, and we need to pay attention to what's being triggered. We need to have an open mind and recognize that we're being fortified. And really, if we're feeling shaky, we can use prayer. We can use our relaxation technique. We can use our Tong Lin. All is well. And that the outcome here would be our leadership card, right? Step into leadership. That is the 4-card reading. I have a couple journal questions that maybe some of you will want to work on during the month. I'm going to share those now, and then we'll take questions. How are we feeling, right? Hey, Courtney, good to see you, right? Really great to see you here in the predictions. Here are some three journal prompts. By the way, Taurus season is coming. I don't want to like overshadow that for all the Taurus. My husband's a Taurus. The Taurus sun is coming April 19th. There's still going to be bunch of planets in Aries, so we're going to feel that Aries energy, and we're going to feel more Taurus, more grounded. We're going to talk about that more in May and the next month's prediction, but we're likely to feel a lot of fire, a lot of momentum. By the way, nobody's spinning backwards. No planets are spinning backwards in April, so this is truly the NASCAR vroom vroom moment you've all been waiting for. So here are the 3 questions. What is truly mine to move forward with? I love this because it's about authentic self-leadership, right? What is truly mine to move forward with? Sometimes we really want to move forward with other people's stuff, right? If that other person could just do this dang thing I've been telling them to do, then I am happy. But this one's like, what is truly mine to move forward with. And if someone wants to write the questions, that would be really helpful so everyone can have these journal questions. We do post the recording, so you'll get a recording of that as well. But just to say that out loud. Number 2, what desire is soul aligned versus ego or other influenced? What desire is truly soul aligned, really feels good to your heart, really feels good to your gut, really feels like it's your own divine guidance system versus your ego or other influenced, right? This month is going to force you to be really honest about what your message is that is true for you, right? And the last one is, where am I being asked to act, but also mature? Where am I being asked to act, but also to mature? Saturn's involved in some of these placements. We're not just, there's some help here. Maturity, it's the veteran NASCAR driver, right? We're looking at that. There's a lot of capacity for wisdom this month, moving forward. Thank you, Courtney, for getting the questions. That's great. And so here we are. We're here with big energy, breakthrough energy, I am energy, inner truth energy, the archetype of the NASCAR, ready to roll. Remember that slide around that short turn where the car slides? You're like, am I going to wipe out? What are we fortifying middle of the month, 16th or 17th, around a personal wound likely to involve a relationship with ourselves and others? We are the Akashic Record Keepers. We're pleased to be present for these souls on this day. We are available for questions at this time. I'm going to pause now and give you some space to ask some questions. This part is really juicy, so if you're new, hang out for the questions. It's very juicy. So what I would invite you to now is, if you feel called, you can type in some questions. Reminder, this is recorded. We do share this in multiple places. Please ask questions that would represent something in the predictions that you want clarity on, and that would also apply to many folks here. Okay, so I'm here for that. How's this all feeling? NASCAR energy keeps coming up. Yeah, I didn't expect that analogy to come through. It's kind of whatever shows up, shows up. How are we feeling? I think a word like change would also probably fit for this upcoming month. There are changes. I'm thinking of that David Bowie song, right? Changes, right? So that's kind of coming forward here of how we're stepping in. I don't think it's going to be anything that is out of the blue that we're not already unearthing, but it may require some action. So what thoughts do you have? What questions do you have about all of this? Really grateful to have all of you beautiful souls here. While I'm waiting, I want to remind you, we are doing Akashic Training Module 1 starting May 7th. We've opened up the training registration to our wait list, and we will be opening up to general public this coming week and on Friday, and we already have 16 spots registered, so we are going to open it up till about 30. So I look forward to seeing some of you there. If you're curious about Akashic training, if you missed that announcement early on, just wanted to make sure you knew about it. Okay, we're going to let some of the questions hop in now. Okay, so Sarah's saying, sounds like discernment is important this month. Yeah, it almost feels like you're not gonna need a lot of help with discernment. It's gonna be upon you, right? So Mars is there for courage, Mercury's there for mental and verbal communication. We have Neptune there, we have Saturn there. We have the sun there, we're gonna have the new moon there, we have Chiron there, we have all of the members of the team, we have the orchestra is gonna play a lovely amount of music. It's more, this is the energy they're saying here, Sarah, that it's like once you have all the instruments playing together in the same song in their own way, you can really hear the music. We're going to really hear the music, right? In April, we're going to hear what wants to be sung, what wants to be shared, what wants to be danced, and we're not going to be able to look away from that. So it feels less like you need to make a decision or you need to find the right answer, and it's more about summoning the courage forward within you to dance to the song that is true, right? To sing to the song that is true. Courage, courage. All right, that's beautiful reflection, Sarah. So Gina says, I've been feeling dizzy and nauseous on and off, especially yesterday afternoon. I opened my own records a couple of times the last few days, and I realized that something big changed and shifted in my own records. It's completely different from what I experienced before. Anyone having similar experiences? And I would like you to clarify this energy a bit. Yeah, so Gina, everyone, mostly a lot of folks I've met with are having some sort of adjustment in the body, right? There is like a sickness or a muscle thing or a strange health thing or pain. And there's dizziness is a common one. There's this sense of acclimation that we're all having to some of the new energy that's showing up here, and our bodies are adjusting. For those who follow like Schumann resonance, it's been like a lot of spikes recently in the Schumann resonance. We also can't ignore that there's really active, hot energy on the land and in war. And when that's happening, those of us who are extremely sensitive, empathically, are going to be feeling that, right? And so that's going to be coming forward. Purification comes back up again, that purification or car wash experience where we are giving ourselves permission to integrate, to acclimate, walking around outside with your shoes off, spending some time in prayer or meditation, taking some time off to be more in immersive nature. Immersive nature is like where there's not a lot of cars and smog. Like, could you be somewhere in the forest? Could you be in a river? Could you be on a beach? Like, where can we spend more immersive nature? They are showing me the Tong Lin meditation, where we're just sort of like regulating the nervous system and breathing and holding space for things. Our bodies need a little bit of help. We've had a lot of upgrades, a lot of planetary shifts. Things are moving, right? Things are moving, and we need to give ourselves permission to integrate. So, you know, what's coming forward in the Akashic here is that this is connected to that. Good question. Lots of sickness, says Ivana. Yeah, there's been it's a lot of folks that I see. I mean, I'm meeting with like you know, lots of folks each week, and people are saying strange things. They've gotten this strange virus, and now, you know, things like that. We're really adjusting right now. What other questions? How is this all feeling? How do you feel about having NASCAR energy available to you in April? Is that feeling good? Does anybody feel scared? Are you noticing what is likely coming forward for you already, that is being called out of you, that's new? Okay, so Susan said, scary to me as Aries is in my 4th house. Yeah, that's big. I'm just going to spend take a moment with that. So they show me like, you know, relationship to self is in the 4th house, the deep inner you. So there's going to be like some transformation around deep inner you, and opportunity for you, Susan, to feel more clarity. They show me how like how the water underneath a spout pools together and then shoots up, right? Like you're going to be like, I know who I am, or Eureka, I can make more sense of things. And they show me how it comes up from the 4th house, where, you know, in your astrology chart, like that 4th house is that deep you, right? So you're going to have more awareness of that. It's typically underneath the horizon, so not as known. It's not your public self, not the 10th house. So it's your deep personal self. You're going to have some revelations there, right? Aries is positive energy. It will be utilized by some that, you know, we're all getting the same shot glass here. And so we do want to be mindful of how we manage the energy, but it is productive energy. It is breakthrough energy. Yeah. Okay, so we have, oh, Anna, how can we best make use of this change in energy? regulation and integration, right? So nervous system regulation. So, the Akasha always tells me that the skin is such a helpful tool for the nervous system. We don't recognize that, like heat on the skin, massage on the skin, tapping on the skin, the way that we snuggle with soft things on the skin are very nourishing to our nervous system. So skin, so like swimming and massage and all these sorts of things are really good for supporting nervous system regulation, Alana. And something I've been saying out loud, it's like, I need to integrate. I need more integration time. When am I doing an integration time? I'm not thinking. The Akasha, like, if you're thinking, you're not integrating, you're inputting. Integration is not inputting. Integration is spaciousness. Where are you creating spaciousness? Right? So integration might mean, well, for me, it means lying on a beach for a few days, which I'm going to do in April, right? So like walking around in nature, spending the day at a spa with your journal, taking an alone trip into the woods for a camping time. What does spaciousness look for you? They said sometimes we do things that others would seem on the face like good self-care things, but we're really putting more information in. We're not creating spaciousness where our body and our nervous system can just catch up a little. I want you all to think about it like the train on a track that's connected through these like hooks, and sometimes bumpy roads unhook the cars and they're all going in the same direction, but they're not all connected. And they're all like, oh, my neck hurts. Oh, I've been sick, right? The cars are like, we're trying to get it back together, but we need some space. We need to allow the train cars to reintegrate and to connect up again and say, oh, all my circuits are firing again. My brain's talking to my hips, talking to my heart, talking to my toe. My body is reconnecting to what's going on. It's really about giving space for integration. I hear the Akasha, this is a great question. Thank you for asking this question. And that we want to make sure that we're just giving ourselves a little bit of time in our bodies to catch up. We have these divine wisdom, vessels that are our bodies, and our body deeply knows what to do to how to stay regulated. It wants to be in regulation. We have to give it space. We have to give it integration time. Okay, fast is not completely a good thing. Well, if you're a Gemini, Gina, yes, if you fast can be a bit overwhelming. So this is part of the shadow energy we talked about earlier. I hear the Akasha say it again. The shadow energy is like emotionally loaded certainty and impulsivity. That's part of the shadow energy here for April. So we got to slow it down. We have to slow it down. If you're saying there's no way I can slow it down, things are moving too fast, it's just you chasing the truck, right? You're participating in that frequency of urgency. Usually when my life is really busy, I intentionally slow it down. I'm like, well, things won't get done, but I need to take space. And that kind of sends a message to the universe, right? Like I'm choosing to downgrade everything and I need it to move at my pace that works for me. Okay, so Kim says I'm noticing it on my calendar. Okay, cool. And Becky's saying I have felt life speeding up, but without fear. Yeah, that's great. And there's just movement, right? There's movement. So yeah, Aries 7th house for David. We have a tip that if you want to look at what house Aries is in your chart, houses represent life areas. So where are we going to have greater authentic stuff? 7th house is relationships, right, David? So that's going to be something that's interesting for you. Kim says she's noticing opportunities coming into her work that feel like expressions of deep inner me. That's perfect, Kim. That's exactly what we're talking about here today, right? Like being able to listen to the strength of our authentic voice as it's coming forward. Becky's also saying powerful dreams, bringing up subconscious thoughts, feelings, and energy. Yeah, full moon energy can do that. I've been feeling that too. Sometimes you're waking up in the middle of the night. You're having lots of reconciliation dreams. You might have some dreams about old relationships. Nobody's retrograde anymore. We talked about that in previous months. There's no retrograde. So we can clear things. We can move things. We can go forward. So yeah. And Gina's noting the 11th house. 11th house is the house of community and relationships and groups. So you're going to have some major I energy Gina, showing up in the way you lead and the way you show up in groups. So it's going to be calling you to that. I love it. How's all this feeling? I feel like the real need for discipline and commitment to supporting my nervous system and supporting my capacity, supporting my younger self and higher self is confronting my addictions, sugar mostly. Very honest, love that, Sarah. Is there a mantra that I can draw my focus towards? Yes. I think that using your Aries power to drive self-care is such a great goal for this month. I hear what got you here is not going to get you there. And what gets you there is a revolution of who you are becoming. What gets you there is a revolution of who you are becoming. And it reminds me of like when you just jump on a horse and you're like, this is who I was born to be, or this is what feels great to me. This is what takes us into the next version of ourselves. And we might just want to very simply, Sarah, give yourself permission to do it differently, right? Like what got me here is not going to get me there. And I'm giving myself permission to change it up. And if that means like slowing down or taking care of yourself a bit more in your case, then and then maybe that feels radical and that requires attention and courage and focus. These are like really good energies that are coming forward for you to see about who you're meant to be. And there's teaching and there's learning in that. There's teaching and learning. Chiron is like, again, this teaching and learning cycle. To have the sun and then the new moon hang out with Chiron is like, it's an opportunity not to be missed in the middle of the month, right? We have sun conjunct Chiron, we have new moon conjunct Chiron on the 16th and the 17th. This is a time to have our ego and our emotions love on, materialize, alchemize, wound, right? So what the wounded part of you is the part of you that if somebody said out loud, you would be experiencing fear or shame around. It's the part of you that you hope is not true. It's the part of you you worry about at night. It's the part of you that you have memories or patterns around. We don't have to go like digging in the garbage dump to figure out what this is. And what would typically happen this month is that all this heavy energy in the I department will likely trigger someone outside of you to say a thing or to mirror a thing or to offer you an opportunity that represents your authentic self that I hear that say, that will rub up against a wound, which might say, I'm not enough. I can't take that really great job. I'm not enough. Or, someone thinks I'm wrong. Or today on Instagram, someone said, how do you know you're not channeling a demon? I said, because I'm pretty sure I'm not channeling a demon, right? It's like, here comes Candace's past lifetimes being burned as a witch coming back around 2026, right? And it's like these sorts of things that get under your skin and you're like, that feels like it's painful. It stings a little bit. These are our opportunities for us to rise through that and to embrace our authentic self. And, it's not going to be so much as discernment as it's going to be courage, going back to that, the courage to be yourself, the courage to be yourself. And you're going to come out stronger and you're going to come out more powerful and you're going to come out teaching it to others because we've trusted that all is well and it will come through the fire of a relationship. And for this, we all came. And this too shall pass, right? As well. Okay. Ivana, I had a question about, but I got kicked out and somehow kicked back in. Okay. I didn't see your question. I looked, oh, there it is. Thank you, Ivana. Okay, so I got you. Something that came up for me, a few others, is a struggle to feel good. Like we are working hard to focus on gratitude. I am liking the motivation, but the felt sense is sad and heavy. I know I am not alone. So trying to see the bright side is a conscious effort. Any other guidance on holding space for self, but also our families who feel it too? Yes, I love this question. I heard the Akasha say, well, what part of your identity is attached to things needing to be heavy and hard? Who do you have to leave behind in order to be happy? And who are you dragging in order to be happy? There's a sense of like, we need to take like an axe, or we need to allow a true part of ourselves to come forward and say like, we've got to let some beliefs go. We've got to let some people go. We've got to let an identity version of us go that is holding us and chaining us to something that we don't feel good in anymore. If it feels really hard to be joyful, there is some identity attachment to that. And what's interesting is they're saying like, this is a month where identity becomes purified, right? Where we're stripping away falsehoods around ourself. We're stripping away patterns. So what do you gain? I hear them say, let's throw her. They show me like the dollar. So like, let's throw her some tough questions and questions for others who feel stuck. What do I gain by staying heavy? Who do I please by staying heavy? What gets validated and seen in me when I'm in suffering? What is calling my attention from the wounded space in me? The choice and the identity to stay or be in these stuck spaces where things are heavy and hard and there's lots of suffering is typically an unclaimed part of ourselves that's wanting attention. It's typically a part of ourselves that's not ready to let go of that identity. And so, of course, when we're like trying to be happy, that part of us is like, I'm not going. I'm not going there. I need to be noticed. So this becomes a part of like, how do we integrate that? Now, I think there's got to be a larger I. I hear, remember who you are, Ivana. I hear this for all of us. Remember who we are. We are divine beings from source energy with the God consciousness within our own heart centers. And we are badasses who can be and express anything. And we reflect light in our power with our God-given gifts to lead others, right? Lovingly. Nothing is outside the realm of our creation, our manifestation, our possibility. All that is holding us back are fragmented belief systems and identities. April gives us the opportunity for the purification. The healing and the action are intertwined. The healing and the action are intertwined. Take deeper relationship and a deeper look at some of these parts of you and allow them to educate you, and let's see what comes from there. I hope that this has been helpful, Ivana. We're going to move on to a couple other questions. I hope everyone's feeling good with that so far. Megan's sharing the Aries is in her 8th house, major loss in July. Okay, have been in the underworld journey since. Any thoughts? Hi, Megan. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so there is revolution and identity. It feels like coming forward for you here. And loss is always an initiation point. It shows us where we our belief systems around the death and rebirth cycle, how we feel about that. Do we feel it's possible? There's a ton of power and wisdom in the death birth cycle. So it feels like Aries showing up here is saying to you, like, who have you become as a result of that? And who do you want to be as a result of that? And so that feels like a real opportunity for you, Megan. And I hope that you can lean into that with a little bit of courage. You know, my North Node is in the 8th house as well, and it's not for the faint of hearts, right? It's like death and taxes and deep sexuality and the mystical things. And you know, the 8th house really shows us that we're here to be able to be courageous with the parts of life that are taboo, like death. And that maybe that's part of your identity stepping up. So I think there may be more to learn about your purpose as a result of this time. Okay. Still taking questions. Hope everyone's feeling good. I'm curious as to how all this is landing for you as you've listened to it, what's coming up for you. These are really good questions, guys. Here to receive. Hope everyone's doing and integrating well. I see a few more questions coming in now. Okay. Susan, do I dare to ask about Aries and more war? I hear yes. There's quite a very fundamental third dimensional concrete thing about Aries and war. I'm a little more concerned about Uranus and Gemini than I am about all this temporary Aries stuff. Some of it's more permanent, but you know, what we're talking about here with like the 5 or 6 planets in Aries is really going to be just through this month. Are we likely to see an uptick in impulsivity in decision-making around arrogance and Aries? For sure. We're willing to see that and going to see that in the collective. But I hear the Akasha say nothing exists in time-space without its solution. Nothing exists in time-space without the polarity of the experience. The light can't be here without the dark. The war can't be here without the peace. The conflict can't be here without the harmony. The problem can't be here without the solution. I hear that's quantum law. Okay. And so while reflections or shadow reflections of Aries is here in the world now, so are all of the solutions and all of the opposites of that and all of the high frequency reflections of that. And I hear it balances out. We need to do a better job of taking care of our nervous systems this month because we're going to be responding to some of the things around us. And I hear this is a great time to be really productive. So we can use that energy as momentum as we step forward. I hear thank you. We've said this in previous predictions, like what's coming forward for me is in previous predictions. We've talked about the astrology of the Uranian return to Gemini, the Neptunian return to Aries. This is the same astrology that we were in when there was a civil war in American history. We are not here again right now by accident, all of us, and we are not going to drive by that astrology and have nothing happen. But we are reapproaching this astrology with more conscious souls on the planet, with more free thought, and with more purpose. And so there is availability for all of us to show up differently. The Akash says themes will be the same. Implications will not. Extents will not. There's also far more solution here. Whenever people ask me about these things, you know, I try to be as honest as I can in what I can read and what's available to be read. But honestly, there's a lot of free will that can't be read right now. You know, we know that there's change coming, and the Akasha says that how people talk about this time currently shapes the reality. How we talk about this time currently shapes the reality. And they show me like how your cells respond and how a flower responds when you're like, I love you, grow. And the flower's like, yes, I'm amazing. I'm the most best flower ever. Like, look at me grow. And then we say to the flower, like, I hate you, right? There's that whole study, The Hidden Messages in Water, by Emoto, where we yell curse words at water and then they freeze it. And it's all these really sad looking frozen crystals. And they play, you know, loving music and say wonderful things to water. And then they have these beautiful crystals. This is not pseudoscience. This is energetics. It's the power and the laws of energetics. How we speak about the time shapes the time. How we speak to ourselves shape ourselves, right? We know this directly, like with things like ulcers, right? We speak to our body in a certain way and we get stressed and then we develop an ulcer. Everything's listening, everything's responding, everything's breathing. So I hear so well, right? So like a sewing kit, sew this time well. The energy in astrology is back. It is tense, and you can choose and shape the reality by how you show up right now. I think most of us feel quite powerless, and the Akash continues to mirror to me how powerful we are. And this is part of why I'm doing all this community stuff, right? It's like, well, how can I use my voice, or how can I participate in supporting different ways of experiencing this time and inspiring you to step in, because we have all this great energy here in Aries. What can we do with it? Checkered flags off. What are you going to do, guys? Like, this is like a really good question. Sorry that I missed your question, Susanna. Hope that's helpful, Susan. I'm down for more if you want to give me another. Can you speak more about Aries in our chart? Need more clarification on that, please. Yes. So we're talking about transit, right? So where the sky is in this month. So we talk about that a bit in these predictions. And wherever, when you look at your birth chart, which you can pull them for free in a lot of places, you can pull them from Astromatrix, you can pull them from AstroSeek, you can pull them from the Pattern or any of these apps that you can use to pull your astrology chart. There's going to be a list that will say, here's the signs on the cusps of the houses. Whatever house Aries is in is the house you're going to be experiencing some of this I energy, right? And so, for example, and you might say, I don't have any planets in Aries. I have nothing in Aries. It doesn't matter. You still have a house. You still have a life area. So maybe the life area is work. Maybe the life area is personal self. Maybe the life area is health. Maybe the life area is the 8th house and death. Maybe the life area is the 3rd house and communication. Oh, I'm going to have to speak up more, right? So you can get a little bit more personal insight from the predictions if you're looking at where your own personal birth chart, because these planets are moving into Aries, it's going to activate that part of your life. If you don't know anything about astrology, you don't have to, because you'll know it, you'll feel it anyway. This just gives you a little bit of a blueprint. If for those type A people here like to know it in advance, what's going to be activated, there you go. You're going to have it there. I don't have any planets in Aries in my chart, but it activates a certain house. So I'm going to be noticing how that's showing up, being a bit more proactive. Remember, nervous system regulation, breath, skin care, working with skin, nervous system really responds well to skin. Are we in environments that feel nourishing? Are we getting massage? Are we working on tapping? Are we sleeping in things that are nourishing? Really taking care of our nervous system. Okay. True node is the same as North node, beautiful Kim. So you can mix them together. Yeah, so Chaya is saying that, I hope I pronounced your name right, that Aries is in her 3rd house. How do I balance necessary communication with fear of rejection? Well, that's the confrontation, isn't it, right? Like this energy of like, I have to now find a voice that has always been there that maybe hasn't been able to come out, and now I'm afraid of rejection, I hear that you were made for this, Chaya, right? You were made to walk through. You were made to confront these fears. When you say fear of rejection, I think about Chiron. I think about teaching and learning. We're learning to face things, and then soon we'll teach it. Soon we'll walk through it. I hear one step at a time is good. I hear one word at a time is good. Baby steps are good. Summoning courage, reminding yourself that all authenticity withstands all scrutiny. All authenticity withstands all scrutiny. I remind myself of that every day. I recognize that when I believe that, Chaya, so does the world. And any naysayers become a very small minority of my world experience, not because I get lucky, but because energetically in my energy field, I'm no longer vibrating in agreement, right? That this is something that I believe to be true about myself. So for you, when you begin to speak up and you allow yourself to move through that fear, you become become connected to your self-leadership. You will start to notice that the fear of rejection lessens, the people who reject you lessen, because you're no longer emitting energy in the field that represents, the separation of that. And then, then we'll all go on to the next thing, right? I've covered and addressed some of those areas in my life, and other areas in my life are still in deconstruction and reconstruction. So we're all kind of always dealing with the things. Nobody's perfect, certainly not me. And so, we can also just kind of breathe a little bit and just do our best a little bit. And that's always really good way to navigate this. And I hope that's helpful too. But baby steps, and remember, the more you do it, the more you trust yourself, the more you truly believe that you are learning how to overcome your fear of rejection. One day you are the leader of that, and it doesn't come to you in the same way anymore. It just does not come to you. Okay, great. I hope that's helpful. Louise says, this resonates. I've been very fatigued and creating space to take extra care as my nervous system needs it. Awesome. I often hear the old limiting voice patterns and then feeling the expansion in another moment. That's a great description. But it still feels like an oscillation between the two possibilities and versions. Thank you for tips on self-care. Sure, Louise. Good to see you again. It was great to see you live at Spirit Well. It's lovely to see you here on the predictions. So, the oscillation, I think we might notice less of that, to be honest. In April, we're just going to notice the big, strong fountain of like, well, I'm just going to have to be me, and I think that gets to be something that may be scary for a lot of us in and of itself. When we take care of our nervous system and we slow things down and we breathe, really recommending the tongue lid for everybody that came up earlier today. I think it's a really good strategy for the month. How can I breathe and hold space for it all? How can I breathe in these limiting beliefs and drop them in to the space of compassion in my heart and accept them there, right? How can I accept them there? And it's so interesting, right? Sometimes we're like, we've got to we've got to bash those limiting beliefs. We've got to transform them, and I think Chiron is like, I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to teach, I'm trying to get somewhere. And a lot of the times we just have trouble, right? Just being compassionate with the imperfect parts of ourselves. And it can be as simple as holding sacred space. And I got to tell you, in the work that I do with the Akash, while there's some transformative elements of channeling and helping people understand deeper pattern work, there's really like no better way to love on people than to give them and hold space for them while they're in their true authentic self. When they're crying, when they're sharing a fear, when they're talking about a dream that they have, and just be there, present for people. And I think we all crave that, right? To be fully and truly seen, right? Like we just all crave the capacity to feel seen and totally and unconditionally accepted and loved there. And so, in all of that, I wish to mirror back to you and everyone here that how can we want that and crave that and need that in the world and also not be giving that to ourselves on a daily basis? And so that gets to be something we consider. We consider spending quiet time, nourishing, agreeing, allowing ourselves to be who we really are. And April says, here you go. Here's 6 planets in Aries to help you be who you are. And you're not going to be able to look away from that, right? So that gets to be the magic of this month. Okay, so 11th house, yeah, Susanna, communities, all of that. Really, connection to groups and anywhere where kind of commerce and marketplace is happening. Kim, she said she just looked, and Aries is in her 5th house, and these are all creative projects are new for her this month, where I'm going to be my authentic self in my work. Gotta love that, right? It's all coming in divine timing. Susan says she's trying to be the best of Aries. You are, Susan. You're the best. You're the best reflection. Strong self-starter, getting things done. We'll see how that shows up with 6 planets. It's I just consider this like pure frequency. It's pure. We're getting some pure energy here, and that's going to feel good. Remember, there could be some surprises. We have Uranus and Gemini. We're starting a brand new communication networking cycle. It's a new 7-year cycle. At the end of the month, you could have some surprises. But Uranus always takes us deeper into our true self. It's a really beautiful pairing for April. Last couple minutes here. Any other questions? Any other questions? I think, we often ask people, what are they taking away from these predictions? What I would invite you to, if you're willing to share, what are you inspired to be or express this month in the true spirit of action? Anything that's popping up for you. I've heard some people say creative projects, relationship stuff, work stuff. What would you say you're going to take from this predictions into April? That represents who you're going to be and who you're going to express. Awesome. I love that you're going to be brave. That's perfect. Thank you. Lovely, Chaya. I'm going to let integration happen. For me, that's my intention, which means I'm creating spaciousness. I'm not putting in information. I'm going to create spaciousness so that my body and my nervous system can regulate. Right? Letting my body navigate. Remember the train cars that are all separate? They're trying to reconnect sometimes. So we got to give them that space. How do you know that? You feel flooded. You might have body pain. You might be overwhelmed. You could have headaches. You could have sleeping issues. The body's going, hey, the nervous system's going, I'm dysregulated, right? So we got to give space. That doesn't mean we're reading all the self-help books, right? We're figuring out what's wrong. We're trying to find the recipe to solution. We're creating space to listen to God, to pray, to receive, to rest our bodies. Yeah. Ooh, dance medicine woman. Love that, Kim. Thank you for sharing. Susan's going to get a lot of herbal homework done and being true to herself as a herbalist. I love that. What are you taking away from these predictions that you plan to be or express, that maybe you're inspired by these predictions that will offer you some sort of power? It's really great to hear all these answers. We've got to be a bit more we have to give more permission to inner I, right? True I, the I self. We want to be able to give permission to that version of ourselves. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to share? I see Susanna. Thank you. Self-confidence, knowing and trust with a beautiful dose of self-love. Yes, that's beautiful. That's great. Okay, everybody. As a reminder, we are going to be doing another live event in Stewart, gallery channeling. That will be April 24th at Spiritwell. Going to be focused on gallery channeling, karmic relationships, family relationships, relationships with your children. So we're going to be doing a live intimate group setting there April 24th, May 7th, Akashic Training Module 1. This Friday, 4/3, we're going to be opening registration to the general public. I look forward to training with you. If you'd like to train with all of us, it's a beautiful, sacred, deep space, 6 weeks. Very excited. My calendar's a bit more full individually these days after being on a few different public spaces and podcasts. So if you're having trouble scheduling an individual session, just know that it's a drip release and there'll be more appointments available. And I do take off a few weeks in July. I think we're booking a bit into there are some slots into June now, although I know I still have some April and May available. If you're feeling the call to be supported, I am here. I'm here individually. I'm here to help train people to continue to access this energy for themselves. I love the painting and dance. That's perfect for you, Alana. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sending you all into April with a cloak of regal power and permission to be your best, most true, courageous self. Thank you for joining the predictions tonight. And I do recommend re-listening. We do use some cool AI tools and make some graphics for you so that you can have like a short reference list, but there is an energetic transmission by listening to the predictions. So I definitely recommend you re-listen. You can share them with your friends. Make sure you can send people to the Ross Only Network. That's where we'll be posting it so people can watch it. It's free to be here, as you know. To just let people in, if you can give them the link to join the network if they want to catch the replay. All right, any other takeaways? I see a couple people typing here. Would love to receive that before we close out. Never want to skirt anyone. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're the best, Susan. You can, thank you so much. I think you're the best, and I'm so grateful to see you and be with you again. Module 4 is coming in the fall, Susan. Isn't that great? It's going to be good. Yes, I know you will be. Love having you always. Thank you, everybody. Lots of love to you. Have an amazing month, and I'll see you in the in-between spaces. Bye.